Well, I got to Indiana, got the Malibu back, got the big girl back, now legal in Indiana. It was funny, I didn't say anything the other night. I went through the gate and they weren't going to let me in. The race office was closed because I was late getting, I wasn't late getting to the track, but I was late for the race office. And because I didn't have a tangible license, that little badge right there, the gentlemen at the gate were not going to let me in. So I had to call up the judges and they allowed me to proceed. So all is well right now. Just watched a couple of races. Beach Boutique, who we'll talk about in a minute, is just in overhead. I mean, she draws the outside and you're going to drag her back to last. That's what you're going to get. You know, she can't come from last in a stake race when she's a maiden filly. Now, I'm not saying that Dave Miller should have blasted her out of there. You know, it's a tough punch. But at the same time, when you draw the outside, get away last in a stake race field, and you're at your first time in a stake race, I can tell you you're going to have problems. And that's what happened today. So Beach Boutique was in trouble. And then I watched Sunshine's Finest. He's not a conditioned horse right now. You're going to go in 52 on a 5/8 mile track. He can't. Simple as that. Now, we sold a lot of horses over the last 2 weeks that couldn't get in and couldn't do. I think we just put this horse in a condition claimer, and I think he'll be fine. Now, we've been through a lot with Sunshine's Finest. Probably going to be a lot of teary eyes, I suppose, when we put him in the condition claimer, but can't continue to race the horse over his head. It's not fair to him, the clients, or the person driving him. I wish I could have been there to drive the horse today. I don't think there would have been a much better result, but nevertheless, I'm in Indiana, so that wasn't going to happen. So that leaves us to what we are going to talk about. Enough talking about it. Poppy Rob Hanover was fantastic today, 47-1. I'm here, of course, driving Fox Valley Britska, and I'm excited about that. Can't wait to see how he'll do tonight here in Indiana. This is for any of you that have not been to Hoosier Park, Indiana, Anderson, Indiana. There's few tracks that are left where you can tell, at least the people that owned it. Now, I can't speak about Harris because they own it now, but the people that owned it, you can tell they love the place that they built. Man, oh man, this is a beautiful spot. Big burns, beautiful paddock. Everything's clean. Just a beautiful spot. Anyway, hopefully we'll get down here. You know, anytime you talk with the Breeders' Crown, you're like, come on. It's hard to say. We do have some horses eligible to the Breeders' Crown. One notably that is interesting me right now. There's a lot of horses you can make an argument say that particular horse has a long way to go before you start talking Breeders' Crown. But a horse that I would be interested in, looking at the small sampling of data I have from 2020, extrapolating that forward, sprinkle on a little optimism. And I think Spirited Dio is a horse that is eligible to the Breeders' Crown, and a horse we're going to keep a very, very close eye on. Also in that category, if we can get her squared around properly also, is Globetrotting. So we do have some horses. There's some other horses in our midst. You know, if we get War We Welcome healthy, moving forward, she's eligible. So a number of horses in our barn that might be, possibly down here in the fall. That'd be great, wouldn't it? But for now, just happy to be here, happy to race here tonight. Bit of a drive. Took me 4.5 hours to get here, but 4.5 in the Subi. But I'm here now. So let's get right into it. We got the 3-year-olds. We got the 3-year-olds to talk about. Some of these horses have been sold, I suppose. But we'll go through all the ones that are left, what they're doing, what they're up to. Ale's Son is in Tuesday at a fair in Ohio. I didn't get a chance to, I don't know the name of the fair, but she is there, and I'm driving her Tuesday in Ohio. We have 8 horses entered in the fair Tuesday. Arctic Forest, we opted to scratch. He had the outside post again in Tioga, maybe. It was the proximity to the stake. I think we thought the stake was 5 days, and it was 4 days. In this heat, it's really hard to race that horse back in 4 days, truck him to Yonkers, and expect him to do well out of the outside post. Might be 6, but there's only 6 in it. So that gives him 4 starts in a row, where he drew the furthest out on the gate. He's going to be at Yonkers on Tuesday racing in a stake race. Beach Boutique, I talked about her. She raced today. Going to give her a pass. Going to wipe that line right off. I know it cost us money. I know it's a pain in the butt, but I'm going to wipe that line off because she didn't get a chance to race today. So she'll be in a maiden next week. Beach Bum BB, I did get a chance to, obviously. I talked to Brandon Bates when I was here the other day. Brandon said she bled a little bit. He was putting her on Lasix. She'll be in to go this week. Not surprising. She's a little bit of a hot bugger to begin with. And it wouldn't be that hard to convince me that she bled in either or both of her last 2 starts. So we'll get that, hopefully get that fixed up, and she'll be underway again. Bottle of Red, trickle blood found in her, but a lot of mucus. So Bottle of Red was a little sicker last start. Jeff's going to clean her up and hopefully put her in where she can do some good. If not, we're going to reevaluate what we're doing with Bottle of Red, but she'd been such a good filly for us before we sent her down there. Surely to God, we can keep that going. Brushcut's not in this week. He'll be in to go next week. I talked to Kevin briefly about him. Cabernet's jogging. She should start training soon, I think. We'll start training Cabernet probably next week. Let's say next week. Canadian Titan. Now, Canadian Titan ended up with an injury. It was not an obvious injury. She had a little line at the back of her knee. And when I had first taken her up to get her looked at 2 weeks ago, the veterinarian had made note that could be a problematic area. There could be a line there. Now, for those of you out there that know about reading x-rays and ultrasounds, sometimes things aren't what they seem. So it was something we wanted to keep an eye on. We put her in the pool, we trained her, brought her back over to the veterinarians to get checked again. Sure enough, that line was more prevalent. It was more prominent. It was there. So it's not something you want to go, oh, we'll just hope she doesn't break her knee. You can't do that. And if she does break her knee in the place the line was, that's it. She's done. Just breed her, because she's not going to race or not be going to be an effective horse again. So the good news is you give her some time, she'll come back. So Canadian Titan is on the shelf right now. An unfortunate 2020 for my partners and our clients that own Canadian Titan. But we got to do what's right for the filly. And unfortunately, this is upsetting. But it is a reality, and we will deal with it in time. Capistrano qualified 55-4, 27-1. James said he still thought she could have been better, but she was good. So she'll be in to go next week. I think Harry said Georgian. I was kind of lobbying for the Prospect Series in Grand River, but I think Harry's idea is to keep her off a half, which there's a valid argument for that. I certainly can't argue. I still would put her at Grand River, but at the end of the day, Harry believes she's better suited for Georgian in that class, so that's where we'll go. Compass Rose DC, she is in on Tuesday. Got a little predicament with Compass Rose DC. She drew in with Spend That Money. I'm going to drive Spend That Money. I think I own the same amount of both fillies, but as I always say, I'm going to try and do what's best for each horse. I think anybody can get Compass Rose DC around. Jason could get Compass Rose DC around just fine. Spend That Money's a little trickier, and I want to see both fillies do well. It's unfortunate that they drew in together. We had no idea how many entries they had at the time of the draw. So, as I generally say in cases like this, we will play the hand we're dealt. We'll need a driver for Compass Rose DC, or Jason, quite frankly, could drive the filly. I'm perfectly fine with that. He trained her the other day. She trained great. Don't Believe Me, Just Watch will be ready to go, I believe, in the next week. Kevin trained him fast. He's going to be... He may have trained him fast again. I didn't get an itinerary of who went over to Mohawk on Wednesday. Now, it was also pouring rain, so maybe nobody went to Mohawk on Wednesday. But I know the week before, Don't Believe Me, Just Watch was in the race bike, so he'll be ready to go soon, I would suspect. Emerald Miss, somebody said, what is wrong with Emerald Miss? I can tell you exactly what's wrong with Emerald Miss. Just hold on a second. Let's see. She drew 8-8-1-1-5-8. In the rail races where she drew the inside, they went in 53, and it was stake races. And every other race, virtually, she drew the outside. What's wrong with her? You can't win a race from the 8-hole on a half-mile track. It is a very difficult thing to do. This is not, oh, well, it's just a little mountain to climb. No, you're talking about a giant Everest-sized mountain. To win out of the 8-hole at Northfield Park, I would love to know the numbers and the amount of horses winning of the 8-hole at Northfield Park. I'm going to say they're exceedingly low. So, what is wrong with Emerald Miss? Nothing is wrong with Emerald Miss. We will put her back in that class. She will draw the inside. No, she's at the fair on Tuesday. And hopefully she didn't draw the outside. Hopefully she drew somewhere good. Draw the inside in that class I was in the other night. She's headed to the winner's circle, not back to the barn. Who's next? Frontier Cruise. A lot of questions with Frontier Cruise. Where is he? Another question. Where's Frontier Cruise at? Another question. Where's Frontier Cruise? I got a lot of those this week, and Kevin told me trained him up hard. And I think you guys are starting to get to know the trainers just as well as the horses now. Kevin wants to make sure they're very, very tight, and I don't blame him. That's why he does good. That's why he always did do good. So Frontier Cruise was trained very hard this week. He said he'll be racing next week in the 15 claimer. Now there's a 20 at Kawartha. Not a big purse, but probably a real good start. That's exactly where I would start him. One thing Kevin and I both agree on is no point entering them if they can't win. If we're just going to go to the track and be long odds, we shouldn't be going to the track. So Frontier Cruise, he'll be racing next Saturday at Kawartha Downs is what I've been told. Globe Trotting, a couple of coughs this week. No concern. She's not coughing anymore. We didn't want to train her hard today. We're going to go Monday with her. Give her another couple of days to really shake this off. We're going to train her probably in 57 at Northfield Park on Monday. She'll go back Friday at Scioto. For those of you not paying attention or maybe didn't know, maybe you don't have any of the 2-year-olds, we trained 3 2-year-old trotting fillies in 2 minutes, last quarter in 29 seconds, last half 59 at Northfield Park yesterday. I'm a Lovely Lady, Mama Knows Best, and My Jazz all trained very, very good. So Globetrotting will be in next Friday. Harness AM will be in next Saturday at the Meadows. Schooled great this week. Everything at the Meadows was going good. It's not Tim's fault. Beach Boutique, no shot today. And Sunshine's Finest seemingly in the same boat. No Shotsville. Has to be in a condition claimer. Have to get this horse in where he can win. And I know it's unfortunate. You say, oh, somebody might claim him. There's no point going to the track if you're going to get beat up every week, and Sunshine's Finest will only take so much of that. So it's important we get him in where he can do. So Harness AM is ready to rock. She's going in the Stallion Series next week. I'll be driving her, and she will get a chance to race. Hometown Boys, I believe, is in to go this week. He was entered Friday, also eligible. Kevin will have him back in to go very soon. I'll Play It Alone. I had a highlighter beside all the horses we were looking at selling, all of them, and his name was highlighted. He just doesn't want to leave. He raced great the other day. Second beat to nose. The only problem we have right now, I'm not going to be okay with him racing twice a month. So Tim's going to have to figure something out there, or hopefully when the stakes leave town. Now that the Adios is over next Saturday, a number of stakes are in and out of town, but nothing concrete that is there full time. We should be able to get more racing done without Play It Alone. Inland Beach was sick today. We had to scratch her. Johan was a little sick the other day. Plus, he bled a little bit. We're going to put him on Lasix. So Johan's next start will be on Lasix in Ontario, and then he'll come to Pennsylvania, I would suspect, and race in the last 2 Buckeyes with Sebastian Yu. That's the plan right now from me to you. That's the plan with those 3-year-old PA colts, Johan and Sebastian Yu. Hopefully, Sebastian Yu and his prep on Wednesday will do well, and then Johan will be on Lasix, race him once in Ontario, and off to PA. Just for me and you, now we talked to Felix, a couple of the other owners. We opted to put her in the Nomarza too. We said, right now I don't think I can beat Harness AM or Path of Totality with her. And those are 2 fillies that are ready to go right now, real big miles, I think. So, the other filly's just a step behind still, trying to get her legs underneath her. So we opted maybe just to skip the first leg of the Stallion Series coming to the Meadows and opt to race her in the Nomarza 2. Nothing wrong with that. I think it's probably a smart move. So she's in to go in the Nomarza 2 this week. Knockdown Dragout. Mario thinks she's healthy and he can race her on Tuesday. I will be tuning into this event. She's in to go a week from Tuesday, I believe. He put her in to go maybe this Tuesday. I don't think so, though. So Knockdown Dragout will be racing soon. Miss Brampton Beast drew poorly this week. I don't know who's driving her. She's in a grassroots event, and they were very kind of us. You might have heard me flip out the other night because they wouldn't take Harry and Kevin's horses to race against each other, even though there was no common ownership. I had a talk with the racetrack. It didn't get to the commission, but I did have a talk with the racetrack. Lo and behold, they needed fillies for the grassroots division, and no problem. Not only can Kevin race against Harry, we're going to let Kevin race against Kevin this week. Very frustrating that they would do that. Should have called Kevin and said, Kevin, your 2 fillies are getting in together. Do you want to race them together? Which probably what would have happened is he would have said, no, we'll race one of them at Georgia or Grand River. But that didn't take place. Miss Brampton Beast races against Need Your Opinion. A travesty this week at Mohawk. Muscle Chrome raced today at Sarnia. James said, pretty debilitating day today. We had to scratch Northern Blizzard. We had to scratch Inland Beach. But we shipped Muscle Chrome all the way down to Sarnia to make $356. She stayed trotting. James said she was actually good. Trotted in 2 minutes. Maybe she's turned the corner and coming forward. Nancy Allison will train this Wednesday. For those of you with Nancy, I'm with the way the maidens are going everywhere, I'm not really in a big hurry. And I don't mean to slough it off like it's not a serious thing. It is. As an owner and your partner in Nancy Allison, I think she's worth probably a lot of money as a broodmare also. Part of the reason we bought her was because of her broodmare potential. I would like to get a mark on her, but I know she's not ready to trot in 56, 57 right away. So I'm just going to take my time. We're going to get her ready. We're going to try and race her. Hopefully it'll work this time, and we'll put a mark on her. So right now she's training. James thinks she's better. We made some more shoeing changes with her, and she will train on the first race is going out. Must race at 6:30. Okay. She will train this Wednesday. Need Your Opinion. I just talked about Need Your Opinion. I think last week's race was an abomination. She got run into 3 times in 1 mile. It goes without saying that's pitched. Now she has raced against one of her stable entries, which is a joke considering what had happened the week before, but I don't want to talk about it any longer. They're going to race together on Monday evening, I believe. Path of Totality, qualified fantastic. That is the Path of Totality I've been waiting for. I think that is a step forward for her, and I'm really excited to race her next Saturday in the Stallion Series. Really blue chip. As I said 2 weeks ago, I'd had enough. She's too skinny. She's not consistent enough. We're going to put some weight on her and bring her back in the fall. She's going out to the field. The reason she hasn't gone yet, because the person that has that big paddock full of nice green grass that we wanted to turn a couple of them out on was in the hospital. So Sean Breezewell, get well soon. As soon as he is healthy and out of the hospital, both him, her, and Cambridge Star are going out to his place. Rooney Blue Chip races tonight in Chicago. Going to watch that go tonight. Sebastian Yu races Tuesday. Very happy with the way he trained. Mike Wilder got along really well with him. He's going to drive him on Tuesday. Spend That Money, as I said, a little hiccup. We had to race them against each other, but not because they were short, but because we had 3 horses entered in 2 divisions. So Ailsun get in by herself. Spend That Money and Compass Rose get in together. Before you ask, no, there is no input in who can race against each other and who can't. It's luck of the draw or unluck of the draw in this case. So I think Compass Rose DC will need a driver. Spirit of Dio did not get in Friday, did not get in Monday, did not get in Tuesday. We will enter her back Friday at Mohawk. As soon as I'm done this video, we will actually. Sunshine and Shade qualified in 56, still looked a little weak. I said to Mario, listen, just find an easy spot. I don't care where you race them. Find a soft spot for this horse to start. So I suspect Sarnia, Clinton, I don't care. Just get him a soft spot. Sunshine and Shade will be racing this coming week. Trafalgar, Sylvain really protected her, raced her easy the other night, which was great. She was loaded with pace going under the wire. They had to open the class for her. They needed her. I entered her in the class below where she fit, and they opened the class for her. So I guess maybe I shouldn't complain. I was pissed off when they had the 2 fillies in to go together, but they did open the class for Trafalgar on Tuesday, so whatever. And then 6 days after that, she'll be in the grassroots. I think that's fine considering she only really raced for 1/8 of a mile the other night. Watch Avenue, a little break the other night. He's done that twice now in that same spot. Gets around Georgia, no problem, but somehow has a problem with that first step into the turn at Mohawk. It's so weird. I think we won't have to worry about that any longer anyway. I think Zeb and Watch Avenue have both proved that although they're very useful, very nice colts, have lots of money to make for the stable.ca, and Kevin has them very good, they are simply not grassroots horses. And there's nothing wrong with that when you look at the grassroots. First division the other night, 49-3 or 49-2 for a grassroots. What is the world coming to? So Watch Ave and Zeb Sunshine are not grassroots horses. They join a long list of other horses that are not really grassroots horses. Not ours, but everybody else's also. There's, I hope that we can work with the Prospect Series in the future. I personally believe, and I'd voice this to the powers that be, that third leg, that Prospect Series should be a claimer. And that will keep it, consistent, right? That's what claimers do. Speed-wise, talent-wise, keeps it consistent. So I'd like to see it a claimer, and I think it would be a great tool for the 3-year-old division, especially when the grassroots are going in 49. But nevertheless, we have spots for Watch Ave and Zeb Sunshine. They fit great in Georgian, and I suspect they'll be there next week. So those are all the 3-year-olds. I'm going to go. I have to go to the tack shop for a second. I'm going to come back, and then I think we can run through the rest of the stuff. Try and get it done before the big boy warms up here in Indiana. I'll be right back.